But if you're always agreeing, if you're always like the can-do, the person they're always gonna come to you for it. Even when they don't deserve your energy, even when you should be like, nah, I'm not agreeing with this. Like, being agreeable all the time, always being the one to go with the flow, it's exhausting and it can be harmful because people will just expect you to roll over after a while. You don't want to be the person that's just expected to roll over. Hello, happy day, whatever day you're seeing this. I hope your week has been amazing. Welcome to my space, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Douglas. I'm just very glad to have you. Today, I just wanted to kind of talk about some signs that might indicate that you're a people pleaser. Look, I get it. I have historically been a people pleaser. You know, you don't want to make people upset. You don't want the stress, the anxiety of maybe someone being annoyed with you. You just kind of want to go with the flow. And on the surface, that can seem like the easier option. But I promise you, people pleasing is not healthy. It's not going to make you happier in the long run, and it's not going to make people like you more in the long run either. If anything, in my experience, people pleasing has just led to them trying to mow over me and to steamroll me and to kind of just take advantage of my kindness and my people pleasing ways, which is why I don't people please that often these days, but I digress. Let's get into it. These are some signs that indicate you might be a people pleaser. Let's go. Sign number one that you might be a people pleaser is that you don't prioritize your own needs. How often do you just kind of have an idea, you're in a group setting or something happens and you come up with a thing and then everyone else is like, nah. No, prioritize your needs. If you need something, be loud about it. If your needs aren't being met, that's important, and it's as important as anybody else's. I think if you're in a group setting, specifically, it should all be about, teamwork or just communication. But specifically, if you're by yourself, your needs are the priority, or they should be the priority. Get into the mindset of putting yourself first. I think so often we were taught to not put ourselves first. We're taught that that's selfish, or that you shouldn't, everyone before you. No, it's not everyone before you. It's you before everyone. Obviously within reason. Don't harm people, you know what I mean? Be considerate of others, but prioritize your own needs. If you're not prioritizing yourself and you're putting everybody else before you, that is probably the biggest, most clear sign that you're a people pleaser, and that, maybe you have some things to adjust in your personal life. Who knows? I don't know, but that's the first sign, is not prioritizing your own needs. I've been guilty of it, trust me. Okay, so the next sign that you might be a people pleaser is that you're always agreeable. As in, you always agree to whatever, anyone says or wants. And that's not good. You want to, this kind of goes hand in hand with prioritizing your own needs. But if you're always agreeing, if you're always, the can-do, the person they're always gonna come to you for it. Even when they don't deserve your energy, even when you should be like, nah, I'm not agreeing with this. Being agreeable all the time, always being the one to go with the flow, it's exhausting and it can be harmful because people will just expect you to roll over after a while. You don't want to be the person that's just expected to roll over. I don't want to be, but people can perceive it that way. If you're always just like, yep, let's do it, they're gonna expect that all the time. Depending on whom you're hanging out with and what their intentions are and things like that. Now, if you're hanging around cool people, they may not do that. They may not try to steamroll you, but a lot of people will take advantage of that. And the more agreeable you are, the more often that kind of stuff is going to happen. And so kind of keep that in mind. You don't always want to be agreeable. You want to make your thoughts and feelings known. You want to stand up for yourself. If something doesn't feel right, if something doesn't sit right with you, say that. And say it loudly too. Because that's another thing is we kind of soften our own voice, and we kind of dampen our own energy and our own light, and people will expect that from you as well. So it's the more you do these things, the more people are going to just have the expectation that that's who you are, and that's what they can always get from you. A lot of people, unfortunately, their motivations are, what can I get from you? So be on the lookout for that. And it's not like you always have to be in an argumentative mood or anything like that, but sometimes disagreement happens, you know what I mean? Oftentimes we're not on the same page, and it's okay to point that out. Just because a conflict might arise doesn't mean that you shouldn't point out or speak on whatever the thing is. Often, if there is conflict that's going to arise, that's the thing you should be talking about. That's the thing that you need to be addressing. I don't have a lot of conflict in my personal life, but sometimes it happens. I'm the kind of person, I want to head it off. I want to talk about it, and let's get it out there, But, not everybody sees life that way. Okay, so you'll notice all of these go hand in hand. All of these are the kind of the same thing. But a big sign that you're a people pleaser or that you're veering into people pleasing territory is that you avoid conflict like it's the plague. Listen, conflict happens, okay? Disagreement happens. You're gonna be in situations with people that want the opposite of whatever it is you want, or they feel the opposite, or however it is you feel. That is not a reason to stop. That is no reason to roll over. Sometimes it is, but you got to learn the difference. Not everything is everything. You know what I'm saying? Just because this situation happens doesn't mean that it equals that situation. Conflict doesn't have to be the breaking point of a relationship. Conflict literally should exist because that's how you get conversation going. That's how you get the thoughts going. That's how people can actually come around and maybe see things from your perspective. But if you're avoiding conflict at all costs, if you're just kind of backing away just because it might get tense, oh man, you're probably a people pleaser. I hope you're not in a management role because, conflict happens and you just got to learn to deal with it. And sometimes, yes, conflict is just like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. I'm going the opposite direction. That's valid too. That is perfectly valid, but that shouldn't be what you do all the time. I avoid conflict when necessary. If I know that it's just conflict for the sake of conflict, I probably will just be like, nah, I'm good, bro, deuces. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? If you're just trying to argue at me for the sake of arguing, I have no interest in it. I don't want that energy in my life. But if it's something that could be productive, if it's something that could lead to a better place, something where we can maybe come to an agreement point, then yeah, I'll probably engage in that conflict just because it's like, hey, let's figure it out. Why are we in conflict? What happened here? But like I said, if it's just conflict for the sake of conflict, I'm not going to deal with it. But like I said, not every situation is every situation. So don't just avoid conflict because conflict exists, and don't engage in conflict just because conflict exists. God, I'm being very contradictory, it sounds like. All right, so the next sign that you might be a people pleaser is the approval of others is the most important thing to you. Listen, I'm not saying that you should just be out here just like contrarian to everyone and everything, but I'm sorry, other people's approval really doesn't matter that much, specifically if it's something personal in your personal life. Now, if it's like professionally and you have a project you got to turn in and you need the approval of other people, by all means, please get that approval so you don't lose your job. But if it's just like you're having to change something about who you are to get this approval, or maybe you have to adjust how your energy is or how you interact with people just to get approval, that's not it. That ain't it, bro. Like, that's not worth it to me. The approval of others, honestly, doesn't matter. You've got to please yourself. You have got to be happy with you. And if you are prioritizing the approval of others over your own approval of self, you're headed in the wrong direction. It should not be that way. You should value you so much that it's like, nah, my approval comes first, and then I'm going to consider others. Then I'll consider others. Because you want to be considerate. But you should come first. All right, here's a huge sign that you might be a people pleaser. You're always apologizing. I get it. Like, I'm originally from the South, and like the Southern hospitality thing is to apologize, and then you expect someone to accept that apology or whatever. If you're always apologizing, if you're always saying sorry for how you feel, or you stood up for yourself and you apologize, that's not cool. You shouldn't always just be apologizing. If you're around people that are always expecting an apology from you, or you find yourself always apologizing to them, A, they probably got some weird energy, but B, you might be in a people-pleasing mindset with them. Kind of evaluate that. What are your priorities? Why are you feeling the need to apologize so frequently? Are you always wrong? No! No one should be making you feel like you're always wrong, or you're always guilty, or you're always in the wrong place. You know what I mean? If people are making you feel that way, you might be people pleasing, but also evaluate them. Evaluate who you're around, what their energy is. I don't care if these are coworkers. I don't care if this is family, partners, whatever, friends. Be on the lookout, because if you're always apologizing, something is wrong. Something is not going well, and I'll bet if you just take a second to just evaluate those things, you would kind of see it very clearly, like, oh, okay, here's what it is. So, all right, and this final tip for the sign that you might be a people pleaser, you don't say no very often. You're always just saying yes. Yes, this goes along with being agreeable. This goes along with not prioritizing your own needs. But if you're always saying yes, stop and just take a moment. This is the same as apologizing all the time. you can't always be the one that's putting forth the effort. You know what I mean? You can't always be the one that's doing the extra mile or the one that's always putting your best foot forward. That has to be mutual. That has to be a conversation. That energy has to be mutually beneficial. If you are always saying yes to things, you're probably exhausted, and I bet you're being a people pleaser. You have to learn your limits, you have to learn your boundaries, and it's healthy to say no. It's healthy to say no, because that's gonna help you identify what those boundaries are. That's gonna help you kind of pull back some of that energy, and that's gonna help you kind of prioritize your efforts. And you'll be exhausted if you're always saying yes, I promise. And if you're watching this and you feel like, man, I just can't catch a break, I am just, always tired, think about these tips I've given you. Are you doing any of these? Are you doing all of these? Are you always saying yes? Hi, hello. My kitten Gravy says hello. He really wanted to be on film today. Hi, okay, goodbye. I just want you to kind of think about these things. Prioritize your needs. You're important. You are so important, and you shouldn't have to roll over for anybody. And just because you're not rolling over for other people doesn't mean that you're coming around with a sledgehammer to their needs either. It doesn't have to be either or. Everyone really can be happy and satisfied. Prioritize your own needs. Evaluate the people and energy that you're around. Maybe they don't deserve to be in your life, but prioritize you. Stop saying yes all the time. Don't be so agreeable. And what else did I say? Oh yeah, the approval of others, it really doesn't matter. Do what you know is right, do what you know is best, and you might be happier. You might be less of a people pleaser. And I hope these tips helped. Did I miss anything? Do you have any advice that maybe that I could add in a subsequent video? I don't know. Please comment below and let me know. Don't forget that I post new content every Monday and Thursday. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comment below and say, hi, I subscribed. I'd love to hear from you. You're beautiful. You are powerful. We attract love, light, peace, safety, and security. I will post more soon. I gotta get to work. Goodbye.